So in this learning, we will talk about scientific notation variable type. Before we actually take a variable, let us understand how the scientific notation works. We all know 1 million as a number. So 1 million has 6 zeros in it. So as a scientific notation, we know that it can also be written as 10 raised to power 6. And if we just write it this way, then 1 times 10 raised to power 6 is a scientific notation of the same number. Right? So if you want to write scientific notation with E notation for the same number, you will write it as 1E6, right? So this is how we write the scientific notation. Suppose you have to now write another number, let us say this time it is 10,000, then it would be 10,000, right? It is nothing else but 1 times 10 raised to power 4, and it is nothing else but 1E4. And suppose this time we take only 100, and it is nothing else but 10 raised to power 2, and if we write it 1 times 10 raised to power 2, this is scientific notation, but scientific E notation would be 1E2, right? So this is how we express our scientific notations. So this is the real number 100, and its a scientific E notation is something like this, 1E2. Now suppose the number is 123. How this works? So 123 is like 10 raised to power 2 is 100, and if 100 is multiplied with 1.23, then you got it right, it is 123, right? And scientific E notation would be 1.23 E2, right? So this is how scientific notation works. But there is very interesting thing. The interesting thing is that SPSS can take this value. If you enter this value, then SPSS will give you 123. And interestingly, if we enter in SPSS 123 E plus 2, then also it gives us 123. And interestingly, if in SPSS you enter 123 and without E, just plus 2, then SPSS understands that you are saying that it is 1.23 E raised to power plus 2. So it understands it this way, and it will still give you 123. Now let us test this knowledge with actual application. So I have opened the same data file, numeric variable.sav, and last time we were talking about expense and travel expense, and we talked about comma and dot variables. This time I am taking one variable as long value we want to store here, and I pressed tab, and numeric variable is default, and I pick up the scientific variable and I click OK, right? And I have taken this as a scientific variable, and I go to data view, and here in the long I typed 1.23 E2 and press here, you can see it clearly, 1.23 E2, and I press tab, and it is automatically written as 1.23e plus 002. If I click on that, you see that SPSS is showing us the value that this has a value of 123, right? So now one more time I will enter the same variable 1.23, but this time I am not entering E2, I am entering E plus 2, right? You can see it, and I press tab, and again SPSS accepted it, and if I click on it, it shows that its value is 123. So this is the second way. And third way to enter scientific notation is I am typing 1.23 I should say, and then plus 2. This time I skipped entering E and I press tab. Let us see what happens. And SPSS again understands it that I want to write scientific notation. If I click on it, it is 123, right? So this way scientific notations are accepted in SPSS in many ways, in 3 ways actually. So we talked about it. It is accepted as 1.23 E2, 1.23 E plus 2, 1.23 just plus 2 without the letter E. Now let us understand how huge this value can be, right? And I have taken the width of variable as 8, but suppose I start increasing it, and let us see how far it goes. And you will see 37, 38, 39, 40, and no, and after that SPSS does not take it. So variable width can be 40. So I'm just not experimenting with decimal points at this moment, and I'm taking 2 as decimal places. So this way I have taken 40 as the width of the scientific variable. Now let us go to data view, and this time what I'm doing is I'm entering 1.23 E10, right? So let us see and press tab. So this is this number here. So 1.23 times e raised to power 10. This is this long number, right? And suppose let us try 1.23 E 100 this time, and I press tab and click on this cell, and SPSS has also accepted this huge number 1, 2, 3, and then there are zeros, right? So this is like for 123, right? 123 was 1.23 e raised to 2, but here we have e raised to 100, right? So 10 raised to 100, right? So let us try even a bigger number, 1.23 e. This time I'm trying 200, and you know SPSS has accepted it. Let us make it 300 this time. 1.23 300. I should add plus here at least, if not E, and then I press tab. So SPSS has also accepted this number. So this is 1.23 times 10 raised to power 300. Now let us try making it 1.23 plus, this time I'm entering 305, and SPSS has also accepted this number. Now I'm trying 1.23 E 309. No, SPSS has not accepted this number. So if we take 307, for example, 1.23 E307, yes, SPSS has accepted it. And let us do 308 also, 1.23 e raised to power 308, and SPSS has accepted that too. If I click on, so this insanely large number even SPSS can include, and this is because we have set up this variable as a scientific variable, scientific notation, and we have taken the width as 40. So SPSS can process very huge numbers for us. So that is the power of SPSS. So we always say that always know your data and always know how to enter your data. Thank you.